Hello everyone, and welcome back to another ear training lesson. We're doing another lesson on rhythm, and unfortunately it's another one where I have to say we're working out of a book. But it's a kind of a standard. It's Progressive Steps to Syncopation for the Modern Drummer by Ted Reed. And it is actually somewhat of a standard. It's not very expensive. There'll be a link that'll pop up by the side of my head, and there'll be some stuff in the description below. So if you want to go buy it, hey, you can. Now, this exercise will use a specific part of the book. For me, it starts on page 38. There might be more than one addition to this. There probably is. But it's called Exercise 1. It's on page 38, and the smallest metric unit we have is an eighth note. There are then also quarter notes, dotted quarter notes, and eighth notes tied to things. But for the most part, it's eighth notes and quarter notes in some form or another. Now, the idea behind this exercise is to read and memorize a rhythm very quickly. Now, I'm going to do it where we're doing a 4-bar, I guess you call it rhythmic phrase, but you can take it longer, and in the beginning you can make it shorter. It's a very versatile exercise, but like I said, the idea is to read and memorize very quickly. And this will help you with your sight reading, it will help you with your soloing, it will help you with a lot of different things. And there are a few parts of this particular exercise, but I'm just going to focus on one part of it in this video, the easy part of it, and then next video will get a little bit more complicated, and so eventually you can just stop doing this half of things, but it's a good way to start. And what that is we're going to treat every note that is an actual note, not a rest, like an eighth note, and then however many rests would fill the rest of it. So if it's an eighth note, it's just an eighth note. If it's a quarter note, it's an eighth note and an eighth rest. The reason for this is because we're just tapping things out, and if you hold down a tap, you can't hear it. You don't have that spinal tap sustain on a tap. But now, the part of the brain that deals with music is the same part of the brain that deals with language. And so you're going to make a phrase for every note that occurs. It doesn't need to be very sensible, it just needs to be something that you can remember. I'm just going to do, like I said, page 38, exercise 1, line 1. My phrase is, I like to eat beets, they are my favorite. I like to rub them on my face. Now, I know that this might give credence to the idea that I am a beet face rubber, like many of my opponents have said. I will say it is entirely untrue. It's just a phrase I can memorize quickly. I don't even really like beets. They're okay. Now, like I said, you make up your phrase so that you can memorize it very quickly. And at first it'll take you some time, but soon you'll get it to the point where it'll take you only like, you'll just read the phrase and have it memorized, but more realistically you'll be like, minute, okay, I have the full phrase. And maybe when you're first doing full lines, you start off with just one measure at a time. Maybe you do half and half. You can do it however you want. There are a lot of different strategies towards getting the memorization part of it down. But here, like I said, we're just going to do the full line. And your right hand just kind of constantly taps eighth notes. Your left hand taps when there's an actual note. If you're left-handed, you can reverse it if you want. I don't really care, but the idea is one hand taps everything in straight eighth notes, the other one doesn't. So here's what that sounds like. I like to eat beets, they are my favorite. I like to rub them on my face. And, maybe you just cycle through it a few times until you have it memorized, and then you want to get to the point where without looking at it, and here I do the magician thing where I show you I'm putting the book down the wrong way so I can't read it. I like to eat beets, they are my favorite. I like to rub them on my face. And it's that simple. Like I said, there's more parts to this, and I'll go through the additional steps of this exercise at a later date. But that's how you get started. So you have something that holds you down, keeps you very rhythmically locked, and then you have something else that goes, okay, these are the actual notes. This is where I would play music, but at the same time, you always want to be playing in your head, keeping that pulse and keeping that constant thing going. And this applies when you're playing music as well. You want to be able to always feel the pulse and know where you are, and so that's what tapping it out like that does. Anyway, I hope this is useful for you. Like I said, we'll get into some more stuff next week. Have a good day and come back to the channel soon. Bye-bye.